Good morning all, hope you're doing okay. May the 26th, 2022 Bulletin. We had a bit of a FOMC hangover I think today. So we're seeing the calculation having a bit of a knock at the 24-hour, at the big picture, because the 24-hour difference is has increased quite a bit. If it does it again, tomorrow will be risk on at the big picture. VIX is being crushed, it's still below 30, so that's important. Dollar strengthened overnight, and it's very strong on the monthly. However, on the daily it's reversed, so it's going to be tricky with the dollar, I think. So it's strong on the small time frames, strong on the monthly, strong on the weekly, but the daily analysis it took a bit of a dump. So we might see some resurgence on the dollar, then it would tally with everything else that we see. So a bit of a strange one there. So indecision. S&P might make a sell opportunity. If they go long, we'll fall, and if they sell it, we'll rally. So it's dead simple. The SSI is very choppy and sideways. You can see up and down, zigzagging a lot. This is FOMC, zigzag, jitters and nervousness. Gold made a sell and then made another sell, and so that's that. So this is a lot calmer. You can see how easier that is to trade than this. It's zigzagging everywhere. This is actually quite smooth. See? So France 40 is the greatest buy, dollar Swiss is the greatest sell. So bear that in mind. And there's a little bit of indecision there. See, we've got greens and reds and things. So ideally you want red and red to match and green to match. Yields are coming down, which is good for risk appetite. We were above 3% on the 30-year. That's quite heavy on the risk off. So they're coming down, and whether or not they continue, we'll have to wait and see. But we should be tracking this line, whatever happens anyway. We shouldn't be seeing an inversion, and we haven't got any inversion. That could come down a little bit. The 5-year, 10-year perhaps could stay the same, but that could come down a bit more. And so we just track that line, and that'll be a normal yield curve. And that'd be quite good for risk appetite, which would tie in with this potentially. We might be going risk on tomorrow, so probably still need a flush out on these retail guys. Once they're flushed out, it'll be a hell of a lot easier. And AJ is going to give us great clues at US 500 at 90% probability. NOK Yen is better, but I'm not sure if you've got NOK Yen on your MetaTrader 4. It's probably unlikely you've got that. I'm not sure. If you've got IC markets, you'll have that. You'll have that pair. So look for AJ for clues for US 500 direction. It's only a 10% margin of error. Quite risk off overnight. It's not heavy selling. But red, quite red. And so what's happened here is the failure rate, they've got paid a lot, and so I wonder whether or not this is going to be FOMC induced. And what actually of note that this has increased now, it's at 20% now, so we really should be above 50%, and we should be around the 80% region. So knowing that these retail guys are normally wrong, however, what this tells us is that they're getting paid. So it might be that Thursday is payday, or it could be the FOMC hangover, and that's what I said at the very start of this video. So we've got CAD's got a 0 score, meaning that they're getting paid on all CAD crosses, and they're getting paid on all dollar crosses. So CAD and USD have got a 0 score, so they're getting paid on CAD and they're getting paid on the dollar. So that's really quite interesting, and I'd say it was unusual, but we're just collating data, so it's going to be useful to see. And when we're below 50%, it's basically, it's worse in your standard roulette table. It's basically, you know, you're entering a casino, but the odds are stacked heavily against you. What we want to do is wait for this to get over 50%, and then we can enter using sentiment for your bias, but currently it's quite weak. So when we're below 50%, we want to be looking at technicals and fundamentals, or just sit on your hands. That's a viable approach. Above 50%, then we have a better edge than your standard roulette table. On Monday, we hit 87% failure rate, meaning they were getting absolutely destroyed on Monday. And now Thursday, it seems that they're getting paid. So it might be Thursday, might be the payday. We'll have to wait and see. So we're just collecting data, and then we'll collect it over several weeks, and then we'll have to see whether or not we can see any correlations as to particular days, peak times, peak days, and things like that. So it's going to be very, very useful. Yeah, it could just be payday, but I'll be surprised to see it as low as this. So it is increasing now, which would be normal. That's way too low. And there's this is that metric there, that 12% is just simply calculate how many green cells are in this table, and there's not many green cells. Green cells tells us that they're being punished, okay? And so there's not many green cells there. SOC update, the largest mover is gold at 7%. The largest stop loss cluster is EJ there, sticking out, and that's above at 136.60. And note that the bubbles as well, the Kiwi is the strongest, gold is the weakest. So I'm looking at gold now. It should be falling, but markets are crazy nowadays. No signals yesterday, but that's fine. That's actually fantastic, really, because the logic is that they only trigger if they satisfy technical and sentimental criteria. If they don't satisfy sentimental or technical criteria, we won't get any. So it's good. It's better to have a decent signal as opposed to one that hasn't got any checks, because we'll end up losing money. And if we have these checks in place, then we'll have more confidence. So the fact we don't have a signal yesterday was fine because of FOMC and capital preservation. So that's that. So we've got GDP. I think Powell and Co. will be watching that, and they'll be looking at their jobless claims as well. He was saying about unemployment could get higher because we're at like record low, like decades low unemployment. So he doesn't mind so much about this, but he will be looking at GDP. It's to do with the supply and demand as well. That's why he wants a little bit more unemployment, which is it sounds counterintuitive, but it's to do with slack in the labour market. So that's that. So we've got a GDP, and so that's in 6 hours time. So I'm working on some Excel MetaTrader 4 integration, where I've simply put in my account number into Excel, and you can see account information, and you get like technical indicators and things like that. But what you can do, you can have Excel, you can have like a script in Excel that actually pushes trade signals to MetaTrader 4. So it requires a bit of brain power, but I'll work on it. This is what I'm going to be doing today, and the end product is that I have some automated system where it will buy or sell according to conditions I set. So I'll have something to do with the moving averages because we use Andy's MAs, and I'm going to have that in conjunction with sentiment, and we'll have some kind of decent system here. But I'm just working on this command bit at the moment. It did throw me a little bit yesterday, but I'll look at it today. I've got plenty of time, so that's something I've been working on. If I get anything out of this and I get success out of it, I'll let you guys know, and I'll do a video on how to get it set up as well. It's fairly straightforward, and so that's it. Just trade safely, and I'll be back later at some point, but I'll definitely be around tomorrow for tomorrow's bulletin, and then it'll be the weekend as well. And we've got end of month, so be careful. Positions are closing in portfolios, and we've got a humongous FX expiry for pound USD on the cable rate. It's £3 billion pound expiry at 3 PM tomorrow, so be careful you're trading cable. There's a big expiry for that, and I think the big fish were caught off guard on their options because the BOE, they put a spanner in the works about the rate hikes. So that's that. So be careful with the pound tomorrow, and I'll keep you updated with this as well. So this shouldn't be too bad. If I can't get it working, it doesn't matter, but I'll keep you guys informed anyway. I'll speak to you soon.